Hello, hominids! My name is Ray McNamara, and today I have something very cool for you. This is a top secret chord. Nobody's using this chord. You could be one of the only people using this. There's like two famous tunes that have this chord in it that in the last 400 years. You know what I'm saying? Stay tuned. This is the Neapolitan 6 chord. So the short version is Neapolitan 6, typically used in a minor key, but not exclusively. And it's a flat 2 in first inversion, and then that typically goes to the 5 to the 1. That's again flat 2 in first inversion. That's our Neapolitan chord. And it sounds like this. Oh, come on. You got to use this guy. Start using it, would you? So let's talk details here. First of all, if you are booked up on jazz harmony, you might be thinking, okay, it's a flat 2 chord. I know what that is. It's like a substitute dominant or a tritone substitution. And this actually functions a little differently. This is basically a subdominant chord. People will analyze it as being very similar to like the 2 chord in a minor key, meaning like the 2 half diminished or 2 minor 7 flat 5. But I think because you have the bass motion is really like 4 because of the inversion. You end up having the 4th degree as your root note, and then you go to the 5 and then the 1. So it's kind of like a 4-5-1 as well. So it's the Neapolitan chord functions as a subdominant chord. Name. Okay, so the name Neapolitan comes from the Neapolitan school, which is not a school. It's a bunch of composers in Naples, Italy, in the 17th and 18th centuries that were famous for writing operas. So the Neapolitan school is not a school. It's like a school of fish. It's a bunch of guys that wrote music. And I could list a few of them for you, but honestly, I don't think most of you would recognize any of the names. So I'm not gonna. Now, the 6 part of the Neapolitan 6 is a little funny. This is a sort of vestigial thing from a notation system known as figured bass. So there is not a 6 in this chord. This chord is a triad, right? If we're in A minor, it's a B flat major chord. You just put D on the bottom of it to make it first inversion. But it's a B flat chord. There's no 6. The reason that it's called a Neapolitan 6 chord is because in figured bass, that's how you notate first inversion, is with a 6. I'm not going to go through all the examples. Look up a video on figured bass for that. There's some very nice voice leading to be had in this guy as well. So because we have the flat 2 in this chord, that has a lot of tension to pull down to that root note, right? Do. And then there's your flat 2 right there. Pretty dissonant, right? It's tough to listen to. And that comes down, that's in the B flat chord, that's the Neapolitan chord. Comes down to the 5 chord, which has another sort of funky non-diatonic note if we're in minor, which is that G sharp, right? T, which is very strong pull. Very strong pull back to the 1, right? So you kind of have this dual pull, even though the Neapolitan chord is also really acting as a subdominant. It's not a dominant chord. But it does have that little tinge in there, right? I think that's where a lot of the heat comes from in this guy, is that flat 2 note. I mean, that's maybe obvious. There are 2 famous examples. Firstly, Moonlight Sonata by our boy Ludwig van Beethoven uses a nice Neapolitan 6 chord. This one right here. the other most famous example of the Neapolitan chord comes to us from John Williams. You know, like the movie guy. He writes all the music for movies. And this is a cool one too, because this is in a major key, unlike Moonlight Sonata, which is minor. And it's the theme to Indiana Jones. And it's basically all 1s and 4s and 5s, typical stuff. And then all of a sudden there's this Neapolitan chord comes out, and I'll play it for you. Yeah, so really nice chords. So to recap for you, the Neapolitan 6 chord is a flat 2 in first inversion. That goes to the 5 chord, that goes to the 1 chord. And again, typically in a minor key, but not necessarily. You can use it in major as well. And there's some examples of people using a Neapolitan in root position as well, but that's not the original iteration of the chord, you know? And that wouldn't be a Neapolitan 6. That would just be a Neapolitan, I guess. Apart from those two examples, I literally don't know any other example of a Neapolitan 6 chord. If you do, leave a comment, because I would love to hear it. Because this is one of my favorite chords, and it's never, ever used. Actually, I did use it. I used it in, I dropped the Cibriex distortion, which you've been hearing on this Rhodes. And in the goofy video I made for its release, there's a big Neapolitan chord. I'll link that. Click on whatever link. I don't know how YouTube works. Yeah, so that's a Neapolitan chord. Congratulations. You now have secret musical knowledge. Do me a favor and use it. All right? Put that chord in something cool. So again, my name is Ray McNamara. Like and subscribe. And I have my email in the little doobly-doot. Hit me up for lessons. I'll do Zoom lessons, all kinds of stuff. We can talk harmony, we can talk piano. I'm great with guitar and bass and electronic production. You know, I worked at recording studios for a long time. I know all kinds of stuff, and I love talking about it. So hit me up. See you later, hominids.